The ceremony will now begin. Nous aurons des discours de diverses personnalités américaines. Le colonel Keith Nightingale, historien de la 82e Airborne et ancien commandant du 505e PIR de la 82e Airborne. Le général Pat Work, commandant de la 82e Airborne à Fort Liberté, en Caroline du Nord. Et M. Maurice Renaud, président de l'Association des Amis des Vétérans Américains. Donc j'appelle Colonel Nightingale pour présenter son premier discours.
At the beginning of the Second World War, the concept of airborne was neither fully understood nor exercised. The necessities of this war caused a huge evolution in its practice, a practice not without significant pain. The Germans in Crete and the US and British in Sicily showed this practice came at a great price. The numbers of killed in action on this plaque prove the point. A consistent but unintended consequence of the airborne evolution was the people it contained, regardless of nation. Those that willingly jumped out of an airplane in combat created an ethos that served us well then and now. These are special people willing to do special things. They act with a high degree of responsibility and duty as they recognize their failure could cause a much larger endeavor to fail, such as took place here on the 6th of June. General Ridgway, a few hours before deploying, went to sleep reading a passage from the Bible. No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life, as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I shall not leave you nor forsake you. This is the unstated but core ethos of today's airborne soldier. Each man and woman know in their hearts that they stand in the door and face the night. There is a vast population that depends not only on their abilities, but on their heart, most importantly. These are people that are different than others, and gratefully so. The biblical chapter of Isaiah. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who shall go for me? And I said, Here am I, send me. Regardless of religion or nation, every person that wears a red beret carries Isaiah in their soul.
I now call General Work.
Bonjour. Je suis honoré d'être ici. Maurice, friends of the American veterans, it's a wonderful privilege for me to be here with you today. Mr. Dennis Bolt is with us. At the tender age of 19 years old, Dennis assaulted the beach at Utah 80 years ago. Thanks for being with us, sir. Of the nearly 160,000 Allied souls who did the deadly work here 80 years ago, about 23,000 of them were paratroopers. And it's our honor to spend some time with you, and you honor our airborne ancestors with your presence today. General Matthew Ridgway was our 5th Division Commander of the 82nd Airborne Division, and he made his 5th jump during the combat assault here in Operation Overlord. I'm blessed to be the 53rd Commanding General of the 82nd. And before midnight on the 5th, paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne Division, the 101st Airborne Division, and the British 6th Airborne Division stuffed themselves into thousands of airplanes, anxiously bracing for the assault landings behind the so-called Atlantic Wall. Hundreds of Waco and Horsa gliders were also under tow, awaiting their violent landings in the French countryside amid showers of sparks. One paratrooper described the vision that he saw as he looked out his aircraft as a sheet of steel over the English Channel. The grand prize was the port of Cherbourg, just northwest of here, and the scale was breathtaking. Nearly 7,000 Allied landing craft, combat vessels, and merchant ships. Over 11,000 Allied airplanes dominated the skies and punished the German defenses. Operation Overlord required the 82nd Infantry Regiments to descend from the sky like birds of prey to the south of the beaches. Though still teenagers, the paratroopers of the 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment, Colonel Nightingale's old outfit. They were the combat-tested veterans of 1943, the battles in Sicily and Salerno Bay. First Lieutenant Robert Mathias, a platoon leader in the 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment, became the first American killed after midnight on D-Day when he was shot in his plane awaiting to exit his C-47. In the fog and flak of aerial war, paratroopers landed far from their objectives, and the Nazis had flooded the plains of the Marais River in the months prior to the attack. In the Marais, many paratroopers slashed themselves as they attempted to cut themselves out of their parachutes. Tragically, several drowned. Many more broke bones, sprained limbs, or experienced extraordinary bruising. Still, they fought, and the combat here was vicious. 36 paratroopers from the 2nd Battalion of the 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment landed right here in the church square. They were captured or killed. Recall the story of John Steele. John Steele was wounded as he descended from the sky, and he snagged his parachute on the steeple right behind me. In an act of extraordinary combat kindness, 2 German soldiers freed him, helped treat his wounds, and like a good paratrooper should, several days later he escaped and returned to the Alliance. As a colonel, I was blessed to spend many hours with Command Sergeant Major retired Kenneth Rock Merritt. Rock was 20 years old when he jumped with the 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment on D-Day. In 2021, Rock passed at the age of 97. He was incredibly proud of the Silver Star that General Ridgway presented to him during his combat here. Everyone who has experienced close combat knows just how cruel it can be. And the secret really is that there is no secret. Every one of these paratroopers was a mother's son. Most were drafted into wartime service, enticed by $50 added a month for the hazardous duty of jumping from an airplane. And after 33 days of brutal combat here, 1,142 soldiers from the 82nd Airborne Division did not return, never had the chance to grow old. Another 3,927 were wounded. And of the 507th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 2,004 jumped on D-Day. Less than 800 got on the boats to return to England a month later. So many lives. 1,600 years ago, Vachetius taught us, si vi pacem para bellum. If you want peace, prepare for war. And you can rest assured that in the 82nd Airborne today, when we're not at war, we prepare for war. And our paratroopers today, they still approach the door in the darkness. They still know that in the next short moments of their precious lives, they might be okay, they might get severely injured, or it might end up a lot worse. Yet they still do it anyway. And I respect them for it. Our paratroopers still start their wars as little groups, wherever a parachute and a plane deliver them. Merci. Thank you all for your hospitality and for honoring our airborne soldiers who gave the last full measure of devotion for the cause, for each other, and to liberate this once troubled triangle of France. Thank you. Well done. Thanks, Rusty.
Et maintenant, Monsieur Maurice Renaud, président de l'Association des Amis des Vétérans Américains. Last but not least, Mr. Maurice Renaud.
Least. So, okay. Do you hear me? Yeah. Well, first of all, I wish to thank you very much for your presence, Dennis, our veteran friend, who is the only one here today. And thank you so much. Also, I wish to salute and thank you for your presence, the 2 daughters of General Gavin, Chloe and Line Gavin, and they are coming almost every year now to pay tribute to their dad, and we are very pleased to have them. Also, General Cavoli, you are a regular now in St. Mary-Église, absolutely. And General Millet, even more, because I think you came more often than General Cavoli, did you? Yes. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay, well, I'm sure I forget a lot of... Oh, and the National Commander of the American Legion, who gives us the great honor of being here, Mr. C. Afer. Thank you very much for being here. And American Legion is a partner with us at the Lafayette Paratroopers Memorial. Voilà. Alors, je remercie, chers amis, et tous les membres des AVA qui sont là, mais même ceux qui ne sont pas membres des AVA, vous remercie tous d'être présents. Ce monument que vous voyez ici a été inauguré il y a exactement 10 ans pour le 70e anniversaire du D-Day. Et il est le seul en Normandie, à notre connaissance, à honorer tous les combattants airborne de l'opération Overlord, à savoir les unités parachutistes de la 82e et de la 101e Airborne, les unités parachutistes anglaises du 6e Airborne, les Canadiens du 1er bataillon parachutiste et aussi les parachutistes des SAS, les forces spéciales et les parachutistes des Free French, des forces françaises libres qui ont sauté en Bretagne le 6 juin. Nous avons inscrit sur ce monument les pertes subies par ces unités d'élite. Ces chiffres ont l'avantage de retenir l'attention des visiteurs qui réalisent mieux les sacrifices consentis par ces hommes pour notre libération. Notre association est fière de cette réalisation que nous avons complétée avec l'exceptionnel site des parachutistes américains du pont de la Fière, que je vous invite tous. Le pont de la Fière, c'est à 3 km à l'ouest d'ici, et c'est vraiment un endroit tout à fait important concernant les célébrations américaines et surtout la mémoire des parachutistes, que je vous invite tous à découvrir si vous ne l'avez pas déjà fait. Merci à tous pour votre attention. Ladies and gentlemen, my association unveiled this monument for the 70th D-Day anniversary, which is 10 years ago. To our knowledge, this is the only monument in Normandy to pay tribute to all airborne units of Operation Overlord, which are the 82nd Airborne, the 101st Airborne, the British 6th Airborne Battalion and the Canadian Paratroopers, and also the SAS Commandos and the Free French Forces who jumped in Brittany. We made a point to show number of killed and wounded on this monument so the visitors can understand better their sacrifice for our liberation. Our association is proud of this monument, and we invite you also to visit our memorial site for the U.S. paratroopers located 2 miles west from here at the Battle of the Lafayette Bridge. And thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much for your presence. So, airborne all the way.
Nous allons maintenant procéder au dépôt de gerbes. J'appelle les déposants. We're now going to have a wreath laying, and I would ask the following to come before the stele to get their wreaths. United States Armed Forces, we have 4 wreaths. Ambassade de l'Allemagne, the German embassy. the American Legion. Followed by the Sons of the Ensuite, American Legion Auxiliary. France, États-Unis, French Riviera, Monaco. Operation Democracy. Donc l'opération Democracy va être représentée par M. Maurice Renaud. Le souvenir français. AVA Next Generation. Et les amis des vétérans américains. And Patton Legacy Sports. Ok, on va procéder au dépôt de gerbes par deux personnes. Ok, if you please, starting with the US Army, we'll lay the wreaths. Ouais, ok. Ensuite. Ambassade allemande. All of the American Legion. France, États-Unis et l'Operation Democracy. Le souvenir français. Alors les AVA, tous ensemble, avec Patton Legacy Sports. Patton Legacy Sports, Michel. Omar Taps. minute de silence. Fermez le banc. Et maintenant, les autorités vont saluer les porte-drapeaux.
But they spread the word anyhow.
Yeah, we had a national convention.
Doing the best thing, right?
All hope was gone, hard to hang on, hard to be strong. Was blind, could not see, nothing but walls in front of me, and inside no peace. And the mountains seemed impossible to climb until you stood on the front line. You led the way out of the darkness. We didn't go astray. You were ready to die for our sake, and that takes a soldier's heart. still we believe. And when the roads are too far to travel, heroes you came and carried us there. And the mountains seemed impossible to climb until you stood on the front line. You led the way out of the darkness. Didn't go astray. You were ready to die for our sake, and that takes a soldier's heart. So our flag was still there, all because you decided to care. You stood on the front line. You led the way out of the darkness. Didn't go astray. You were ready to die for our sake, and that takes. You stood on the front line. You led the way out of the darkness. Didn't go astray. You were ready to die for our sake, and that